What's up guys, my name is Kevin and today we're going to look at some awesome Python tricks. Basically these Python tricks are one-liner snippets of code that make Python really versatile and a really useful language, and it's going to make your code look really clean. So let's jump right in and check them out. So today we'll be looking at 5 amazing tricks in Python. So these tricks, they're really simple and they're easy to do, and it's a really awesome way to make your code really Pythonic, meaning it means that it's distinct to Python, because a lot of these tricks I'm going to show you are not in other programming languages. They're more specific to Python. But let's just jump right in and let's talk about it. So the first one is variable swapping, and it's more like swapping the values between two variables. So let's look at an example where in most languages the way you would swap two variables is you would have, let's say, variable A and variable B, and we want to basically give the value of 5 to B and the value of 8 to A by swapping these variables. In other languages you would have to do something like create a temporary variable. So you would have, let's say, save the value of A into temp, and then overwrite A, give it the value of B, and then from B we'll give the value of temp. So let's print these out. Let's say this is A, and this will be B. Now if we want to run this, let's check that out. And you could see the values have been swapped. So originally 5 was given to variable A and the value of 8 was given to B, and now A has the value of 8 and B has the value of 5. And now this is not the Pythonic way, so there's actually a much simpler way to do it. So let's try that. And all it is let's say you have the two variables A and B, and you want to switch the values. So you would switch the order and the way you list them right here. So B will overwrite A and A will overwrite B. Let's run that, and you can see it's the exact same thing that happened with using the temporary variable, but this is a much more cleaner way, nicer way, and a more Pythonic way to do variable swapping. So that was the first trick I wanted to show you. So the next trick we're going to look at is reversing a list. Now let's say you have just a simple list of numbers and we want to reverse it. Now in other languages what you would have to do is initialize a new array or list, and in Python it's called list, and a lot of other programming languages they call it arrays, but they basically have similar functionality. So anyway, so if we want to reverse the list, we would have to create a for loop where the range would be actually the length of the array minus 1, and we want to go down to 0, but this is non-inclusive, so you have to go down to minus 1 any step by minus 1. So yeah, this is kind of strange, but I just want to show you this was actually the harder way to do this. And what you would then have to do is append to the new list the value of x at a specific index, and this is what you would get. So yeah, the original array is 1, 3, and 4, and 8, and now this would reverse it, 8, 4, 3, and 1. But this is a really cumbersome way to do it, and it's not Pythonic, and it just confuses people, like what's all this negative ones over here. So in Python there's a really awesome way just to reverse it, and all you have to do is basically reassign that variable, and the characters that you need to use here is colon colon minus 1. and this will reverse the list for you. As you can see, it's exactly the one we had before, and as you can see, it's all reversed. So instead of writing that for loop, you could just simply write this one-liner neat code, and it's going to do the same. And in Python, this is the way to go. So much easy, so clean. Everyone basically knows what this means, and that is just reverses the list. So the next trick I want to show you is called chaining comparison operators. So these comparison operators are, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So let's just look at a simple example. If you would have a number, and you want to check if that number is above 1, you would do something like this. And let's say print, let's just say, yeah, hello. So hello will be printed out in the case that this number is greater than 1. Let's run that, and of course it's printed out because we know 4 is greater than 1. But let's say we want to say this number this is only printed out when it's greater than 1 and less than 10. So this is something you would do, and of course it's still 4 is still less than 10, so this will also print out hello. So this is, in most programming languages, this is what you would have to do, is you would have the two comparison operators, and then either using and, you would compare to see if both of those conditions are met. But in Python, you could do something where you chain these comparison operators and basically write it out as you would in math, or just normal way a human would read this. So it's greater than 1, n is greater than 1, but it's less than 10. And this is exactly the same as what we had before. And this is chaining these comparison operators, and is just much neater in Python to write this instead of having the two conditions and then checking if both of them are true. The next trick I'll show you is packing and unpacking. Now this is really useful. I use this a lot, all the time. So this basically is unpacking a tuple or a list into separate variables. So let's say we would have a list of, let's just say, numbers again. It's a simple example. But we want to assign these values 5, 6, and 7 to separate variables. Now you could, of course, do this. So A would be, the first index or 0th index of X list. B would be the second, and X or C would be the last one. That's index of 2. So we could just print these out over here. This is C and B. Let's clear the console and let's run this. So as you can see, this is a simple way of assigning these values in X and the list of X to A, B, and C variables. But there's a much neater way to do this, and that would be using unpacking. So basically, we're unpacking this list into these variables, and that's you do it this way, just separate with commas, and this is also a one-liner. So there it is. Just run it again. So as you can see, it successfully assigned these, unpacked these variables or values, and assigned it to these variables. And you can see this is similar to the way we swap variables as well. So it's basically utilizing the unpacking under the hood. And so this is the unpacking when you unpack a variable. But you could also do is pack together a variable. So let's basically pack these back into a new variable. Let's call that y. And it's just the opposite of what we did so far. We just want to print that out. and let's run that. As you can see, it packed it back together into, in this case, it packs it into tuples. So that's the default behavior, is it packs it back into a tuple. But unpacking could be done both on a tuple and a list. So this is a really neat way to pack and unpack tuples into variables and vice versa. And this is used a lot. So make sure you remember this one. Also, on a side note here, this is similar the way if you have a, let's just delete this. Let's say you have a method, let's just call it a function. What we have is 3 variables or 3 parameters that goes into this function. We'll just add the sum of these. So typically what you do is have something like A, B, and C, and let's call this function with those parameters. And this gives back 6, which is the sum of these numbers. But what you could do is, if you don't have them separated into variables, but it still requires 3 parameters, instead, let's say if you would have a list of these numbers instead, you want to pass that in, and you don't want to unpack into variables, but you want to do that all when you pass it to the function. So let's say you want to do that. Let's just try this. And this obviously doesn't work because it says it's missing 2 parameters because you only gave it 1, and which is true because you just gave it a list. But what you need to do is unpack this list, and the way to do that when you give it to a parameter is using the asterisk symbol. Now it works like a charm. It does exactly what we need it to do, and this is a really awesome way to do this. So this is a really awesome way to pass in. If you have a list and you want to pass it into a function which takes multiple parameters, you can just pass it on as a list. So that's it for this trick. The last thing I want to show you is merging dictionaries. Now this is really neat too, because let's say you have 2 dictionaries and you want to add those together. Now a simple way to do that, let's say we have a basket 1, and we have apples in those, and we have 3 apples, and then let's say we also have oranges, and we have 2 of those. Oops, let me just fix that. Yeah, 2. And that's one of our dictionaries, and the second basket dictionary will be, let's just say, bananas. Let's say we have 7 of those, and then we also have kiwis. Let's say we just have 1 kiwi. Now, if we want to merge these, the best way to do it is, let's say, let's just call total basket. It's a really simple trick, and it's similar to the unpacking, but we're not dealing with lists or tuples. We're dealing with dictionaries. So what we need is actually a double asterisk to unpack these dictionaries, and then you can merge them together. It's basically actually creating a new dictionary. So what it actually does is it will unpack these dictionaries. So it's basically a key value pair, and then it all puts it into one new dictionary called total basket. And if we print that out, you will see it merges these 2 dictionaries, and it does it in 1 line, and it creates a new dictionary, which is the merged of the 2. And this is, as I said, it's similar to the unpacking and packing, but in cases of dictionaries we would use 2 asterisks, and in tuples and lists we would use 1 asterisk. And this is really similar to the concept of args and kwargs, where you could pass in multiple parameters to a function. I have another YouTube video covering that, so check that out. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. So these 5 tricks are really helpful in Python. You It's gonna help. It's gonna make your code look really neat and Pythonic, and make sure you use them. You're gonna be an amazing developer with these awesome tricks in Python. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.
Good job on making it through the video. I hope you learned something new. I hope you're gonna utilize these tricks in your code. So for anyone serious about becoming a developer, leave a comment, reach out to me on Instagram and DM me, and then we could hop on a free coaching call. Otherwise, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.